Welcome to Hudson Valley Vintage. I'm Risa and I'm here with Kevin, and we're very excited. We're at our store today and we're coming to you today with a pretty unique workshop, something we've never done before. So Kevin's gonna actually show you a couple of the projects that we made. So these are actually made, if you haven't figured out already, these are made out of wood shims. So this one is basically in a shadow box, and this would just be an art piece that you could hang on the wall. This one we made in a picture frame.
And you can see it's got dimension to it.
It does, it does. And you know what's kind of neat about this? How many of us have old frames around our house that, you know, we haven't used, that are in our garage or our basement, and you can make a really cool looking art piece. And then this one doesn't have a frame, so we actually just did this on a piece of wood. And I thought, you know, by itself, because it doesn't have the frame, it's a little bit plain. So I thought it would be really neat to glue on a word maybe that's special for you, or you know, you could use different words, whatever you want to use. I even thought, now I only had a Christmas truck because we don't have a lot of supplies right now, but even the pickup truck doesn't really go with the coloring, but you get the idea that you could put,
You can paint it.
Something, something on there. The other thing that's kind of cool about these wood shims is you could, if you had a circle, so imagine if you had a circle like this, if this was wood, you could very easily take your wood shims and, you know, glue them on and, you know, make some sort of a wreath. Imagine that, you know, all the way around. It's really limitless what you can do with these. I even saw somebody had a planter box, and it was just very plain wood, and they almost took the, let's just pretend this is a box. They took the wood shims and they glued them on and made it almost like a mosaic.
Even with the boxes we have, you could stand them up and do like a picket fence look to it. Yep.
There's so many, you know, you're only really limited by your imagination. So,
and the nice thing with the shims, so you show, well, when you open the shims up, that they're thicker at one end, and then they thin down to not quite paper thin. So they transition, and that's why when you look at this from the side, you can see
you have the dimension.
You can see there's a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
Because they're thicker, you can overlap them.
Yeah.
And they work really well together.
Yeah. So obviously the first thing that you need are wood shims. So I have actually learned so much about wood shims this week. I can't even tell you how much I have learned. You can get wood shims at any home center. As far as the wood shims go, there are different grades of wood shims. So what you want to do is you want to look for the contractor, the professional contractor wood shims. They seem to be a little bit better quality. Then you want your wood glue. Kevin likes the Gorilla wood glue. If you don't have it, if you already have another brand, I don't know that I'd go running out and buying it, but we'll see what he says. Okay, so we've got the wood shims, we've got the wood glue. What else do we need? We need a surface. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a piece like this one. So we're gonna be using this today. This is just a piece of plywood that Kevin cut, and it is 11 by 14. So if you have a piece of wood in your home, just use it. You know, you don't have to go out and buy it. You need paint. We're gonna be using Fusion mineral paint today. And you also need something to cut your wood shims with. So I'll show you what I cut mine with, because I actually cut all of these wood shims in all three of these projects. And by the way, one of these made these three projects. So they do go pretty far. So I used a miter box. And basically what this is a little saw, and it comes with a little box. So if you're like me and you don't use a lot of tools, you don't have to worry about cutting yourself. And it was pretty easy because I just took my, let me take a piece and I'll show you how it worked. It's kind of easy. I'm guessing that most of you are a little bit more savvy with tools than I am. So basically what I did was I measured out however I wanted to cut it, put it right in here, put my, I'm not even going to do it, but you just, you know, sew it back and forth, and it takes like a few seconds, and it didn't take me long to do all that. We actually found that Shim Art is like a big thing. So after this video, if you go on Google and search Shim Art, Wood Shim Art,
Probably Pinterest and everywhere
there's
else.
tons of stuff. A lot of people recommended that you paint them first and then cut them. We tried that, it didn't work really well. So I'm gonna take my wood, we're gonna get started with the wood. And you know, the nice thing about this class is, this project is, what your wood looks like really doesn't matter for this, because we're going to be covering it up entirely. So Kevin actually found this big piece of plywood in our basement and cut it up last night for me, and so that's what I'm using. And what I've done already, let me show you, is I've painted Kevin's cut them for me, and I've painted a bunch of the shims. So
I think I cut them 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch, and I almost got everything out of one piece. So you can cut one piece down and have nothing left over.
Yeah.
So that's easy way.
So what I'm going to do is take one of these colors. I've got Midnight Blue, Divine Lavender, Sterling, Soapstone, and French Eggshell. These are from a different one. And I'm going to use one of these colors to make my base. Okay. All right. So I'm using a synthetic brush. The reason being, we always use synthetic brushes to paint, no matter what kind of furniture paint we use, which mostly it's fusion, but we also use milk paint. But we always use a synthetic brush. The reason being, you get a nice, much smoother look with a synthetic brush, and that seems to be what people are going for these days, a nice smooth look. Also, the main reason I like synthetic is because when you use a natural bristle brush, almost inevitably the bristles break off in your paint with a natural brush. All right, I hope this dries fast. I think it will. So I'm gonna put this aside. Now we recommend that you use 5 colors. So for those of you that buy the kit, you're gonna get 5 colors. And let me show you what you're gonna get. You'll get 5 of these. And this is 1.5 ounces of paint will be in each of these.
Same size as a tester, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll actually get 6 of these, because you'll get 5 paints and you'll get 1 wood
With glue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you would get a bunch of wood shims like this. And actually, if you cut them up yourself, you'll see that, you know, you just want to cut them up different sizes. So I'm going to add 1 more color, only because I wanted to show you how we're doing this. So I'm going to use a little Twilight Geranium, and you don't need much paint for these, which is pretty cool. I do recommend that you use a small brush. So You could use a little brush like this. You could use a little sponge brush if you have, whatever you have at home. So Kevin mentioned before that with the wood shims, you're gonna notice that one side is really smooth and the other side not so much. So what you wanna do is you wanna paint the smoother side. All right, so I'm gonna put these out of the way to dry. This is actually almost dry. The next part is sort of like a puzzle, and this is actually really fun. So you're just gonna start. So I'm just gonna start by laying out.
No glue. Now you're just laying them out.
Yeah, we're not using glue. So we're actually just laying out our pieces, and in a second you're gonna see why you need to have 5 different colors. Let me see if I have a smaller one here. And you're probably noticing that I'm hanging off the edge. I'm doing that on purpose. Okay, so we're gonna do a switcheroo. Kevin is gonna come around and do the gluing part, and I'm gonna be the cameraman. So just give us a second.
Here's how I do it.
Okay. So Kevin is actually taking it off the
Just
wood.
The first couple of rows.
Yeah.
If you look at it, you look at the camera. I'll hold it up like that, so you can see the depth to it. Even with it, even this, they're not overlapping.
Yeah.
These are all just basically laying on the wood.
So thank you guys again so much for joining us. We hope everybody's home safe, well, and healthy. We love you, and we'll be back soon. Have a great day.